Hello and welcome to the Woodspeen Chef in the Box. Today's menu is pan-fried scallops with barbecued glazed pork cheeks, cauliflower, pineapple and watercress. To follow you have the local loin of venison with spiced red cabbage, horseradish mash, feta and cider jellies, onion sauce, and to follow a custard tart with poached rhubarb and rhubarb jam and a lime cream. For the vegetarian option, we have truffled cauliflower cheese risotto with a balsamic dressing and pumpkin, sage and onion cannelloni with spring greens, black garlic and a truffle sauce. So, to start, before we do anything, you're going to need to get a pan of water, bring it up to the boil and turn it down to a medium heat. I'm on number 5. Preheat your oven at 200 degrees and that is then ready for the bread and the cooking of the venison later on. So, also if you have the vegetarian option, you will need a pan with a spatula or stirrer, and for the scallops you need a frying pan with a little bit of oil on the bottom of the pan. So if we get that ready, and then we can make a start on the cooking of the starter. So, as you can see in front, you have all your ingredients ready. I'm going to be doing today both starters, so we've got the truffled cauliflower risotto with the balsamic dressing, served with some pickled and roasted cauliflower, and then we've got the glazed pork cheeks, the scallops, cauliflower puree, and the pineapple ready to go. So, into the pan of water, if you place the pork cheeks, the cauliflower puree, and your cauliflowers. Now, in your box, you would have received the Woodspeen sourdough bread. So if you get that out, place it into the oven, and we're looking for about 8 minutes in the oven just to get that crust back and obviously warm the bread up. Take off the hummus jar. This is just to get the bread ready. Undo the butter and place that ready on the board, and then that's ready for the bread on. Okay, with the scallops, with a pair of scissors or a knife, cut the scallops out onto a tray with a little cloth just to absorb some of that moisture, and that is also going to help you to get some good colour on the scallops. Same with the rest of the garnish. Cut the pineapple away from the scallops towards the other ends and placed on the tray, and the same with watercress. So this is getting everything ready, what we would call mise en place, so we can have everything ready to hand when we want to finish the dish, because we want to finish it quite quickly to keep the scallops and the pork cheek hot. And finally, just cut the top of the balsamic, and that again is the finishing touch for the risotto. If you're doing the risotto, you can now cut the bag again, place into the pan, just add a little bit of water into the bag just to get the remainder. You're looking at about 2 or 3 tablespoons just to go in, and I'll just wash out the remainder of the truffle cauliflower puree which we've got in there. In there is also butter, parmesan, so literally it is good to go. It is going to literally, you need 3 minutes just to warm up. And you can see with the risotto, it's quite wet. That's good, don't worry yourself. A risotto should be nice and soupy. So, remove, I'm going to have to remove, you may not if you've got a bigger stove. Remove that pan. So, with the scallops, in a cold pan with a little bit of oil. So this is not on, this is a good little tip to get some good all-round colour. Place the scallops in the pan, making sure you just move them around so they're getting a little bit of oil on the bottom, and then just a little bit of salt placed on top. Again, nothing is on. So now you can turn the risotto onto a medium heat, number 7, that's just going to tick away, and the scallops you're going to turn on to high heat. You want this to have a quick blast to help to get some good colour. The scallops are only going to take about 1.5 minutes on a hot pan, but they'll take about 3 minutes to 4 minutes to finish, because we're going to take them off, turn them over, and the residual heat will then finish the scallops off. So whilst you're now waiting for that, if you grab your plates and get them ready, first of all, cauliflower puree out of the water, and the cauliflower, and cut, place onto your tray. These don't need to be hot, they cannot, this is just to basically soften the oil and the balsamic on there. So room temperature is how we're going to serve those, they don't need to be piping hot. And with the cauliflower, take the corner of the bag, so you've got a little gap left, not all of it, just a little gap there, and you want to place a pile into the middle of the plate with a spoon. just push it into a circle. Wipe any little splashes off the corner. And as you can hear the pan now, the scallops are starting to make a sizzle noise. That's good. And again, you'll notice I've not touched them. Don't move them around, shake the pan, just leave them in the pan. This will give you good colour. And what you're looking for is around the bottom of the scallop there, it will just start to go golden brown. When that does, they're then good to turn over. I'll show you that. But again, you're looking around about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes. Risotto just needs to come up as it is and cook for 3 to 4 minutes. And then we're going to get the final pork cheeks out of the bag ready. So the risotto has got about another 30 seconds left, and then we're just going to turn it off. And it can sit in that pan for a good minute or two. But you can see it's nice and soupy. The risotto, again, like I said at the beginning, should have a stock around the rice, because that really is the true flavour. The rice won't take on a lot, and that's what you're looking for consistency-wise. So you're looking for it to be soupy and loose. But that again is going to sit in that pan for another 2 or 3 minutes, and we're going to turn it off. Now with the scallops, you'll see the lovely colour. Turn them over, and then you're going to turn that ring off, and you can even move it. Okay, and then we're going to place the pork cheek and a little bit of liquid into that pan. That's going to deglaze, and again off the heat, and put them down on the bench in front of you in the pan. Okay, so we're now got everything ready. Risotto's finished on the stove, off. The scallops have just been turned over. We've got some residual heat to finish in there with the cheeks, and then now we're going to dress. So, one scallop, one cauliflower, and then pork cheek. Get some of this lovely barbecue glaze on top of the cheek, and place that in the middle. Scallop touching either side, and really you can see I'm just using the cauliflower puree as a benchmark. So again, if you've got any of this lovely juice left on top, give it a rub on the pork cheek. And obviously, I've got the other portion there, that's if we were dressing for the two, okay? Then now, pour the risotto into a bowl. As you can see, again, still soupy, a little bit thicker than it was 2 or 3 minutes ago. And then just let it drop into the bowl. And then again, the same, a couple of those. And then with a teaspoon, go in. This is the Woodspeen olive oil and balsamic dressing. Okay, a couple of spoonfuls around. Be generous because you want the acid from the balsamic to help to cut and balance that richness from the truffle and parmesan. And then to finish the scallop dish just quickly, we've got some pineapple, 4 pieces going around. And then for the risotto, in a line, some lovely watercress, and the same with the scallops. And there you have it. For your starter, you have the barbecued pork cheeks, glazed pineapple, cauliflower, and roasted Cornish scallops. For the vegetarian, you have the truffled cauliflower risotto with some balsamic and olive oil dressing. So before you go into the dining room to enjoy, remove the bread from the oven, place it onto the board, and if you want to, you can pre-slice it in the kitchen to make it maybe easier. If not, take it into the dining room and enjoy. So, you're now ready to go to the dining room, but again, one more thing before you go. In the pan of water, which is on a medium heat, you need to put your onion gravy, your cannellonis if you have for the vegetarian option, your braised red cabbage, your buttered greens, your mash, and your truffle sauce, again, if it's for the vegetarian. So when you leave to go to the dining room for your starters, you're going to take your bread, your starters, and place into the pan all of what I've just said. It will be leaving you the garnish for the venison, the black garlic puree, the cress, and the venison just on the side. So, hope you enjoyed your starter. So, for the main course, before we get going again on anything, we want to get ourselves ready. So, we need to have a frying pan on a medium heat, just for now, just it's warming up whilst we're getting everything else ready. A piece of foil, now that is just basically a trivet, so when we put the venison into the oven for about 8 minutes, it just needs to be lifted from the pan. So this is just going to be a good little thing which we're going to scrunch up and so it sits above the pan. Basically that'll stop it from getting a grey line. You've got your pan with all your ingredients that we put in as we left from the starter, and you need another pan here just to decant the onion sauce ready to finish the venison with later on. On your bench you've got the finishing garnish for the venison, pea shoots, the black garlic puree if you've got the vegetarian option, that's to go with the vegetarian cannelloni, and obviously your venison portion. So turn the pan to high heat now, a little bit of oil on the pan, and then while that's heating up we're going to take the venison out of the bag, again onto a cloth, not on the tray, just on a cloth separately elsewhere. Obviously for cooked meats we want to use this one later on to put in the vegetables on. So just again dab the excess blood off. We want to make sure that pan is hot, so we want to just see the oil starting to smoke, but not majorly smoke, just a little bit of smoke. That's going to say the pan's hot. While we're waiting for that to come up, you can get the onion sauce out, cut the bag a little bit and pour that ready into your pan. So pan is nearly ready, so just before it comes up you're going to take out your little pots of garnish, again for the venison, and the pickled shallots will be for the cannelloni. Cut the pea shoots, you can leave them in the bag, and if you've got the cannelloni, just again a little incision on the side so you've got almost like a little piping bag. So you can see the pan is now hot. Into the pan, move it around a little bit just to get some oil, and then you leave it, a little bit of salt on top, and you're going to see I'm not going to move it around. We want the heat to stay in the pan, and you're also going to give it a little push down, because the more surface area that is touching the bottom of the pan, get the oil around. The more surface area is touching the bottom of the pan, the more colour you're going to get. The more colour you're going to get, obviously the more flavour. You've got your foil ready. This would be in the pan about a minute and a half on each side, minute to minute and a half on each side. We're just looking to try and achieve some good colour. So there you go. Now move it around the oil and then leave it, and again pushing it down to get good. That's about a minute, so you are looking about a minute, but again minute and a half. Try not to go any longer, because obviously you'll start to get a grey line. And bear in mind we're going to put this in the oven to warm through, so this is really just to get some colour and flavour on there. And again you can see I've not moved the pan or the meat. Did it at the beginning just to get some oil around under the meat to help the colour, but other than that I'm leaving it. Maybe just tip it on the side, using the side of the pan so you can see some good colour going on there as well. As you can see, got some good colour. So now you can turn the pan off, remove the venison, place the foil into the base of the pan, and stick the venison on top, and then that's going to go into the oven for 6 minutes. And then you can place your pan of onion gravy, not on, but just ready in the pan. So whilst the venison's in the oven for 6 minutes, we're then going to put the plates in for 1 minute, just to warm them up. Okay, so the timer has just gone off. If you reset that for another minute, just place your plates in. That's just to warm the plates up, just to take the chill, especially at the minute when it's cold outside. So turn the sauce onto a low heat, number 3 or 4, just gently warming. And then we can now start to take out the bags. And if you want, we don't need the pan again. So if you just tip out some of the water, just to help so you're not touching your hands into boiling water. So pour that into the sink, and then now remove the bags onto the tray. The cannelloni can just stay in that remainder of the water to be the last thing. So you've got your 2 cabbages, your mash and your truffle sauce. Again, the green cabbage and the truffle sauce is if you're doing the cannelloni, and the mash and the red cabbage is if you're doing the venison. So that is now ready. With the mash, again, cut a little bit off the corner. With the truffle sauce, again, a little bit off the corner. Okay, so timer's off. Remove the venison out of the oven with a cloth, place it on the bench on the sides, and that's just going to rest. The plates, they're warm as the oven's at 200 degrees, onto your bench, and you can turn the oven off. Okay, so now again, just finally before we start to dress, going to cut the whole way along the cabbage bags, and then we will make a start. So for the venison dish, pickled shallot along the plate, crispy onion on top, so you're forming a little rectangle pile, and then some feta just crumbled along and on top. Okay, so for the cannelloni, truffle sauce, probably put half of it in the middle like that, just a pile. You don't have to push it down, because when you put the cannelloni on and the cabbage, you're going to spread it out. So spring greens out, place that down and on, not too high, because we want almost a platform for the cannellonis to sit on, so pushing it down. Then red cabbage can go onto your tray, and finally the mash. So you're going to just almost use this as like a piping bag. Put a pile of mash, so you're just leaving it there, pushing from the back, forcing the mash out into a mound on the plate, and then a good spoonful of the red cabbage in the middle. And if you can look, I'm just forming almost a circle. So again, good amount of the red cabbage. Okay, now you can take the cannelloni, which is in that remainder of the hot water. Again, good idea, just because obviously it will lose its heat a lot quicker. So place the cannellonis out onto the tray. If it's warm, place them on top. And then with that, you're going to place pickled shallots in the middle, crispy onion, the feta, and to finish, a few of the cider pearls. Again, any round cider plate is absolutely fine. And then the same cider pearls on and around the mash, the cabbage, like that. And then now we're going to take the venison onto the board and then just, there we go, lovely. Thin slices. Turn the last one over, place it onto a cloth. This will just absorb a little bit of the blood, a little bit of salt, and then pick that cloth up, bring it over, and then place just on the mash and just on the cabbage. Okay, now you can see the sauce is just gently bubbling over. So to finish, just going to spoon over the venison. Not going to go around the outside of the plate, just going to let this flow over the venison. It will go through the venison, through the cabbage, and you'll see just leaking out the bottom of the plates, and then a little bit of the pea shoots, just a couple on top. We don't want to hide it too much. And the same again for the cannelloni. And there you have your finished main courses. So you have local venison, braised red cabbage, mustard mash, feta, cider pearls. And for the vegetarian, you have the pumpkin and sage cannelloni with truffle sauce and black garlic. So before you go in, last minute, you're going to place a few little dots of the black garlic there and around the outside. Reason for putting on at the end is this will form a skin quite quickly and you want to keep it as fresh. Enjoy. Okay, I hope you enjoyed your main course. And I hope you've got space for desserts. So at your own leisure, you have the box left, and this has all the dessert inside. So open it up nice and steadily because you've got a short biscuit inside. Remove that. It's the custard tarts. Remove that. You've got your lime cream in a piping bag, rhubarb jam, and your poached rhubarb pieces. So, obviously box, put into your recycling. First jobs, we're going to get things ready. So just on the end of the piping bag, again, just take a little incision. That's ready to go. Same with the rhubarb jam, a little bit on the end, because you're going to use these more like a piping bag. And then the poached pieces cut right across the bag and place onto your tray. Be careful with the biscuit space. So again, cut all the way along, allowing them to just gently slide out. All your trim going into there. And the same again with the custard tart. You want to cut all the way along and just remove gently from the sleeve custard tarts. Okay, you will need a spoon and a palette knife just to help you with the custard tarts afterwards. So in the middle of the plate, you're going to place a dollop of the jam. Again, anything left over, keep that for the morning on some toast for breakfast. With the back of your spoon, push down and just rub jelly around so you form again a circular platform. And that's really going to help you to have a platform to dress on, but also as well, every mouthful is going to get that lovely sweet and sharp rhubarb jam. Again, around, doesn't have to be perfect. Again, it's just a platform to dress on. Now in the middle, place one of your biscuits. Then with hands either side and then just a little pat knife, just lift it up, place a pat knife under to guide it, and then place it on top of the biscuit. And then to finish, now form this bag a bit tighter on the back, pushing the mix down, and then little dots around the outside of the rhubarb jam. And you're doing just little bursts of squeezes. You're not squeezing all the time. You can literally see I'm just pushing down from the top, releasing. So same again, little squeezes. You've watched my hands, it's little squeezes. And as I finish the squeeze, I lift the bag up and move alongside. So repeat that process. This is the lime cream. And then finally again, a little bit on top. And then one piece of poached rhubarb on top. And then you've got 5 pieces going around. And there you have it. Custard tart with poached rhubarb, rhubarb jam,